Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Thursday, March 7th, 2024. I, of course, am with Originator Success here with your daily mortgage rate update, the only place on the web where you guys get to join me and we talk about it live each and every day. Remember, you can join me 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're on the replay, don't forget to go ahead and give us a hashtag replay in the comments. Always appreciate you doing that, whether you're here live or on the replay. Don't forget, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and smash that like button, tag an LO friend, share us in a group. Use that little share button, share it in a group. It takes a minute. Also, if you are on YouTube, go ahead and give us that little thumbs up and subscribe. Remember, if you'd like, you can sign up for our written email lock advice to your inbox each and every weekday morning, www.ratelockadvice.com, or use that cool QR code. You can also sign up for our text alerts. They're $7 a month, www.ratetextalerts.com, or this cool QR code. Last but not least, check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Listen, it's tough to get business these days. We can help you. That's all I'm going to say. Go check it out. All right, so let's say hi to the live folks. Who do we got here this morning? Say hello if you're here, and let's take a look and see who you are. We got Mr. Ron C. Good morning, sir. I know you are at the edge of your chair waiting for the State of the Union address. I know you are so excited about this, all that fancy bravado and happy clapping. I know that you will be just so, you'll have your popcorn, you'll have your little cheerleader flag, maybe some pom-poms. I know you're excited about this. I know you so well. Kyle Mazikas, good morning, sir. Rob Stewart, good morning. Lisa Bollinger, Mike Morano. How are you, my friend? Kenny Rivard, great to see you. Nicole Semerad. We got someone showing up as Facebook user. I don't know who you are. I'm sorry. Megan Lindberg, Dan Spancers, Teresa Jones. Good morning, Teresa. Great to see you. Jack Straw. What's up, my man? Tim Klyla, Scott Menser. State of what? The State of Confusion address. We know that. Ron Siegel, good morning. Breton and Paul. Oh, thank you, sir. I DVR record the State of the Union. You know what, man? It is so much pomp and circumstance. It is everything I hate about life. I hate phony baloney crap like that. Good morning, Gina. Great to have you here. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about what we got going on this morning and all that jazz. Let me get back to my captions here. Rate sheets today should continue to improve. We have seen some really nice improvements, slow but steady march that we've seen over the last week. In fact, if I go ahead and flip this chart on, you could see this is a line chart of what mortgage-backed securities have done. They're up about 13 basis points to start the day today. The 5.5 coupon is the one I'm still watching, 99.66. It doesn't matter which one you watch, though. I know there's always a lot of talk about that. The 6.0 is up 10 basis points. The 5.5 is up 13. I mean, look at the shape, though. Look at the shape of the chart over the last week. Whether you're looking at a 5.5 or a 6, it doesn't really matter. The reason that I'm doing the 5.5, you can see the little happy star next to it here. That means Matt Graham says that there's more trading volume on this one. So maybe just a little less volatility. But when it comes to which one they're actually selling into, they're actually, a lot of times they're still selling into that 6.0 or 5.5 coupon, either one. You can see there's really not much of a difference. The chart does not change much when you see that, though, here. And so it really doesn't matter. But I am optimistic. I think we're going to see rates come down. So I'm going to stick with that 5.5 for now. You can see, though, look at this. Over the last 5 days, we were down as low as 98, 78, kind of 98, 80. And this is a full 80 basis points better, almost 100 basis points better than where we were just a few days ago. And what that does, that means that your rate sheets get a lot better, and you're generally going to see about a quarter point. So let's see, what was it when did we start to see that low point? This was on March 1st. So on March 1st, 7.08. Now we're at 6.97. I'll actually challenge that. I think we were actually 100 basis points is going to get you about a quarter point in rate. So I think we're actually a little bit higher than that and a little bit better than this right now. I'll say 7 1/8 and bringing it down to 6 7/8. That's generally what you're looking at when you're looking at rate sheets right now. So as far as reprice risk on the day, when we do have these kinds of improvements, the question is, are we going to see things worsen, and how much will that happen? 10-year treasury yield right now, 4.09, also a great sign. Look back up here. We were at 4.32. That is a big difference as well. Now, we could see bonds lose some ground. Right here, you've got that 10-year treasury yield. See how this candlestick, I'm actually going to move this to 1 month. I want you guys to really see this. See how this red line, this is the 50-day moving average, and it's a pretty solid technical level. So yesterday we improved. And again, for 10-year treasury yield, when it goes down, that's good. On mortgage bonds, we want these to go up because that's price, but this is yield and we want the yield to drop. And when we look at this dropping yield here, you can see that we actually ended the day at 4.10, right at that 50-day moving average, right at this 50-day moving average. And you can see we have a tail here, which shows that 10-year treasury yield dropped below it and then came back up and ended the day right there. This morning, we actually were down a little bit better, and it's working its way back up to that 4.10. It's actually rounded to 4.11 is what we would be looking at for technical resistance. I think that today we could end the day at like 4.11. It could end right around this 50-day moving average. I wouldn't worry if it did. Tomorrow's jobs data going to be the big mover. Same thing over here when we look at mortgage-backed securities. Take a look here. This is also happens to be the 50-day moving average. It's at 99.58. And you can see that mortgage bonds have pushed above it. We have what's called a wick, the high thin line here. The wick is above that and it drops back down. That means that this is where mortgage bonds were up to the highest point they were trading at, and they've fallen back. It's a green candlestick, which means we started lower and then worked our way. And right now we're ended right above that. If it were a red candlestick, we would be going down. So a red candlestick means we started higher, ended lower. A green candlestick means we started lower and ended higher, and that's good. We want to see green, and we want to see this moving up over the distance there. So reprice risk today is low. It's very unlikely that we see, even if mortgage bonds kind of go right to that resistance level, other than some wholesale lenders. I know UWN has been like, they'll reprice when a cricket sneezes or a mouse farts. Provident does the same thing, but most lenders not really going to have to worry too much about reprice risk today. Tomorrow, though, we get the BLS jobs data. That's going to be the big deal, of course. Comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. If there are any loans that you are looking at locking, you want to get them locked today before that jobs data comes out tomorrow, because the jobs data, of course, comes out before rate sheets come out. So we're going to be looking to get that wrapped up. My advice remains as it was yesterday. Cautiously float anything that's closing in the next 30 days, anything's 30 plus days out. I would actually just be flat up floating. I think we're going to see a revision lower to last month's numbers, and I think we're going to get lukewarm data for this month's numbers. So remember, though, I got sucker punched big on last month's jobs data. I did not think it would be a big deal. I said even if it came in a little bit warm, no big deal. We'd see it recover in a day or two after a knee-jerk reaction. Instead, what happened, and again, I don't like the taste of crow, but I'll eat it when it's mine. If I got a steaming plate of it and it's mine, I'll own it. So back here, right here on February 2nd, this was that labor market data. You could see this giant red candlestick, and we started out the day before, we were at 100.42. We ended at 99.86. So you're talking 60 basis points that we ended up losing just in that one day. And it really, it kind of sent things reeling. It kicked the can and started the dominoes to continue to lose ground. Then, of course, we got hit with the inflation data, which was on February 13th. That was a huge blow that day, because we ended the day before at 99.25 and ended at 98.52. So you're talking 75 basis point move on that one. So here was the jobs data. Here was the inflation data in February. It really sent things tumbling down. And what that did is, because these two reports were seen as being a huge blow to the idea that the Fed would cut rates going into March and May. A month ago, unfortunately, now I can't go farther than a month on this chart, because if we were to go farther, we were looking at a rate cut in March. And then that disappeared almost immediately after that labor market data came out. That idea of a Fed rate cut disappeared. And then that's why we're at where we're at today. This dark blue line at March's Fed meeting in a couple weeks, the expectation almost zero that we're going to see a rate cut. And that has been that way basically for the last month. It shot up to 80%. And then within a few more days after that CPI data, it did go up to where it was totally unexpected to see a cut in March. We can really see that similar behavior in May. And we can see that again, after that labor market data came out, after the CPI data came out, it quashed the idea that we would see one and in June. Now, I think what could happen is if tomorrow's data comes in and helps us out, we're not going to see this move that much lower, but it could go down. I say maybe this goes down about 85%. It might not go down at all, though, because even if we get a very weak labor report, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has been very clear, kind of talking about this whole thing, that the Fed is not looking to cut anytime soon. In fact, let me do a side by side because I want you all to see my pretty face. So I'm going to turn this back on and I'm going to flip this on. I'm also going to throw the lock advice down at the bottom. I'm going to move this. I'm going to turn this on. All right, look at all of this. There we go. So looking at Bloomberg, basically when it comes to Powell and everything he said, he reiterates the Fed needs more confidence on inflation to cut. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell reiterated to lawmakers that the U.S. Central Bank is in no rush to cut interest rates until policymakers are convinced they have won their battle over inflation. So here's the deal. Tomorrow's labor market data is important. The CPI inflation data is coming out March 12th, just a couple of days after. It's Tuesday, right? That is going to be such a important report. If we see inflation come down a little bit more than expected, that could be huge. If it comes down where it's expected, that'll be good. If it comes in hot, then we're screwed. So there is a small portion of risk between the labor market data tomorrow and the inflation report next week that we could see rates that would actually move up higher again. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm curious what you think. Let me know in the comments. Rates improve again, and we're back to 3/4, possibly. Right? I don't see too much in it. That's using like a Mortgage News Daily as a reference point. If we get two solid reports that help us out, two favorable reports, the labor data on Friday and Tuesday CPI data, if both of them come in our advantage, we will see a nice improvement to rates. Ron Siegel said, what do I think job revisions tomorrow will look like? I think they're going to be big, Ron. But you know what it goes. I think we'll see a revision of at least 110,000 jobs. Again, I'm pulling that number out of the air. I mean, I am just whipping that number out of there. I'm totally making it up, but I think it's going to be 110. And I'm going to write that down. Hold on. All right. So I am writing down revision. Here's my guesses. Revision minus 110,000. So I'm going to write that down. We're going to take a look tomorrow and see where that comes in. I think we'll see a big revision. I think unemployment goes up 3.8, maybe even 3.9. But I don't think we're going to see a huge improvement tomorrow because of the jobs data, but I do think it's going to help move us in the right direction. CPI is going to be big. Mike said after that comment yesterday, why are bonds up today? Bonds are up today because of the fact that even though Powell has said these things, he actually said that when they do see that change, that they are going to make a move. While adding that it will likely be appropriate to begin lower borrowing costs at some point this year. The fact that they are acknowledging that they are going to lower the costs, that was enough to kind of continue. And it's more than just one particular piece of data. Everyone has heard Powell and all the other Fed members talk about the fact that they're not going to cut rates. We haven't seen the Fed futures change really, Mike, at all. 0% chance, 97%. So a 3% chance that we're going to see a rate cut in March, right? That has not changed. It's been almost the same. May has been about 80%. Expect it would remain the same. About a 20% chance for a cut. June's gotten a little bit better. If we use the compare feature here, you could see that it was a 30, basically like a 36%, 37% expect the same, and that's dropped to 27. So we've improved a little bit on the idea, and you can see it here that about a 37% expectation we'd see a rate cut. Now that's a 58% expectation. Much less likely that we see a half a point rate cut or a cut in March and in May. But June, the idea, or even May and then into June. So June is kind of on the table. July, though, is the big one, and that's the expectation, right? So, we are seeing, you can see the expectation here that it's getting better, that we will see a rate cut by July, and that's why. So we need to see labor market data and CPI data help out to really see any change. And if we do see it, it's very unlikely that we'll see it in March or May. It'll probably come with June. So Mike said it seems like it's always data dependent. They do always say that, but data is always adjusted. Doesn't make much sense. I get you. I do. I understand what you're coming from that. Ron said, how do they get confidence when they use misleading government data for making their decisions? It's all smoke and mirrors. We know that. Nathan Einkorn, my eyes. What's up, dude? You're funny. So, all right. Well, that's it again. So if you are locking anything, get it locked up. But I would be floating. I'm taking the risk. I think, again, I was wrong last month though. Don't think I wasn't. I was wrong. And it sucked. So if you've got loans that are closing near term, risk averse, I would strongly, you got to at least consider it, especially if you're close on DTI, things like that. Factor that in because we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. But man, I am rolling the dice and hoping. I feel like we kind of got sucker punched in February, and I think we've got room to see things improve again. See rates come down a little bit. So Mike said, what exactly is seasonal adjustments? Mike, you can go to BLS's website and they actually break down some of that stuff. And remember that last month, the reason that we got such a strong report is that they make changes to the seasonal adjustments once a year, and that's with the January data. So that's why those seasonal adjustments, they took effect for the first time, the changes, the factors, blah, 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 and it's there. Ron said, keep sharing. It hurts to sit on the fence. Yeah, I'm with you, man. So, all right, y'all, I got to wrap up. I do have someone here doing some work on the house. I need to go and visit with them. I'll see y'all tomorrow and we can talk smack about that jobs data. Don't forget to make sure you join me live 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll take a look at the BLS data. And we'll kind of dig in a little bit. I don't like to dig too much into it because, I don't know, I think it gets a little boring, but we'll definitely take a look and we'll see whether we're cheering or jeering, and that'll come tomorrow at 9:30. So make sure you join me then. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.